Thomas sat quietly beneath Tower Bridge, the cool evening air wrapping around him like an old friend. For over 20 years, he had made his home here, where the Thames whispered its timeless secrets against the ancient stones. The rhythmic lapping of the water melded with the distant laughter of pedestrians above, a constant reminder of life bustling just out of reach. As he cast his line into the dark, murky depths, Thomas found solace in the solitude, reflecting on the rich history that surrounded him. Each ripple seemed to carry stories of ships lost and loves found, of laughter echoing through the alleys of London. In this serene moment, he felt an undeniable connection to the past, as if the river were calling out to him, enticing him to listen more closely. Little did he know that this evening would hold more than quiet contemplation. It would usher him into a world he had long forgotten. The cool evening air wrapped around Thomas like an old, familiar coat as he meticulously coiled his fishing line. He glanced around at the whispers of the city winding down for the night, the distant laughter of tourists mingling with the call of a nightingale echoing nearby. Tower Bridge loomed above him, majestic and timeless, its stones glistening with dew from the Thames. Each ripple of water seemed to carry a memory, a whispered tale inviting him to listen. He always cherished this time of day, when the world faded to a gentle hum and the river became a sanctuary of solitude. Yet, as he packed up his modest gear, a soft tug pulled at his heart. Not from the water, but from an inexplicable longing to stay just a moment longer. The night beckoned with something he couldn't quite grasp, as if the river itself were whispering secrets meant only for his ears. As the sun dipped lower, casting a warm glow that struggled to penetrate the thickening fog, Thomas wrapped up his fishing gear. He thought about the day's labor, a few modest catches, enough to feed him for a while, but hardly a bountiful haul. Yet there was something different in the air, a palpable tension beneath the surface of the Thames. He hesitated, sensing the familiar tug of routine giving way to an inexplicable urge. "Just one more cast," he murmured to himself, feeling a magnetic pull that seemed to beckon from the depths. As he prepared his line once more, a soft echo slipped through the mist, floating over the water like a whispered secret. It was faint but persistent, tugging at his curiosity. Thomas frowned, straining to listen, convinced he could decipher a voice hidden among the sounds of lapping water and the distant chatter of London life. Something magical flickered on the edge of possibility, urging him to linger just a moment longer. The mist gathered thicker as Thomas lingered beneath Tower Bridge, the cool air enveloping him like an old friend's embrace. Evening shadows danced across the cobblestones, and he felt a strange sense of anticipation. The echo was persistent now, a gentle hum that seemed to weave through the chill of the night. He tried to shake off the feeling, believing it to be nothing more than a trick of the mist. Yet, thoughts of Alara crept into his mind, conjured by the tales his grandmother spun during quiet winter evenings. She'd spoken of the mermaid's guardian spirit, the protector of the Thames, whose whispers guided the lost and sought to preserve the river's secrets. The stories had always intrigued him, but as an adult, he had dismissed them as fanciful. Now, however, the soft echo wrapped around him, coaxing him to listen more closely, igniting a flicker of curiosity deep within his heart. The legend of Alara flowed through Thomas's mind like the currents of the Thames. In his youth, old fishermen had spoken of her shimmering presence beneath the bridge, weaving tales of how she protected the river and its secrets. They claimed she held the echoes of lost loves and dreams, whispering them to those who dared listen. Thomas remembered sitting wide-eyed, captivated by the stories of the mermaid who appeared to those in despair. A guardian of ancient wisdom, Alara was said to reveal the truths of the river and the life it sustained. Thomas felt a growing kinship with these narratives, understanding that they were more than myth. They were a part of the very fabric of London, binding communities across generations. Now, as he stood beneath the bridge, he couldn't shake the feeling that the ancient murmurs of the river were calling out to him, urging him to delve deeper into their intertwining destinies. The line suddenly went taut, pulling at Thomas's heart as a strong tug rippled through his rod. It was unlike any catch he'd experienced before, an undeniable connection that coursed through him like electric current. Pulling with careful but eager anticipation, he felt the thrumming force beneath the surface, each movement echoing the whispers he'd heard earlier. With each turn of the reel, the water began to churn, the mist swirling around him, thick with possibility. The echo, now sharper and more distinct, danced on the edge of his consciousness, intertwining with the splashes of the river. It beckoned him closer, hinting at secrets waiting just below the surface. As the water settled momentarily, a shimmering light emerged, and Thomas held his breath, unsure whether to be entranced or terrified. This evening was different, and he felt, deep within, that something momentous was about to unfold beneath the bridge he had known all his life. The water churned violently, breaking apart the tranquil surface as a luminous figure emerged. Alara, the enchanting mermaid of legend, floated gracefully above the rippling waves, her iridescent tail glistening with the colors of the dawn. Thomas stood motionless, his heart racing, unable to comprehend the reality before him. Every tale he'd ever heard as a child suddenly felt vividly alive. Stories he'd dismissed as fanciful now surrounded him in a palpable presence. "Thomas," she said, her voice a soothing melody, "I am the guardian of these waters, keeper of their memories." Her emerald eyes locked onto his, melding centuries of histories into one profound connection. He felt drawn to her, enchanted and yet terrified, as the weight of centuries enveloped him. It was more than just a mere encounter, it was an awakening. With every heartbeat, he sensed the currents of the river, whispering tales of joy and sorrow, beckoning him to listen. Alara's voice flowed like the river itself, carrying stories that brushed against the shore of Thomas's heart. She spoke of the laughter of children splashing in the Thames, the sweet serenades shared between lovers on moonlit nights, and the sorrow of ships lost to storms, swallowed whole by the dark waters. Each tale resonated with Thomas, awakening emotions he had long buried under the weight of his routine. He began to see the river as more than a fishing ground. It was a living archive of joys and heartbreaks that shaped the lives tethered to its banks. With every splash, the waters whispered secrets of the past, reminding him that he was bound by invisible threads to those who had come before. As Alara described the vibrant tapestry woven from countless lives, Thomas felt a stirring within him. He realized that his own story was just one stitch in this ever-expanding narrative, a vital connection to a history that flowed endlessly beneath the surface. Alara's gaze focused on the water, and with a graceful flick of her wrist, she summoned a glimmering object to the surface. It floated gently toward Thomas, revealing itself to be a delicate locket, its silver glint barely visible in the dawning light. His breath caught in his throat as recognition washed over him. This was his mother's locket, the one he had kept tucked away with her photograph since she passed. Alara's voice broke through the swell of his emotions. "This locket carried her dreams for you, Thomas. She believed you would navigate life's waters with purpose and strength." Tears brimmed in his eyes as memories flooded back, his mother teaching him to fish, her laughter mingling with the river's whispers. He felt the weight of grief that had anchored him for too long. Alara's words stirred a yearning within him to honor her legacy, not by clinging to the past but by cherishing it as he forged ahead. The weight of Alara's words echoed in Thomas's mind, a resonance of hope mingled with uncertainty. He looked at the locket in his hand, feeling the cold metal warm under his grasp, and it sparked memories of his mother's laughter and dreams, now intertwined with the water's endless tales. "You see," Alara continued, her voice soft yet penetrating like the morning mist, "every fisherman is a vessel of their history, carrying the stories of their ancestors like a fisherman's net filled with precious catches." Thomas's heart swelled, connecting the dots between his humble existence and the grand tapestry of the river's legacy. He realized that he was bound to this place, to the generations before him, and that his life was an extension of their hopes and dreams. With a newfound sense of purpose, he understood that honoring his mother meant embracing the stories written in the waters, past and present flowing together like an eternal current. Thomas stood at the water's edge, heart pounding as he faced Alara's shimmering presence. Her words swirled around him like the mist, urging him to confront the haunting weight of his grief. Memories of his mother surfaced, her laughter, her dreams for him to become a great fisherman, the way her eyes sparkled with hope. But now, standing in this ethereal moment, Thomas felt a struggle within. Should he cling to the past, frozen in sorrow, or let go and embrace the promise of the future? Alara's gaze met his, filled with understanding. "Your mother lives in the stories you carry," she whispered. "To honor her, you must weave your own tale into the fabric of the river." As he pondered her words, Thomas sensed a shift within. He could see beyond his own losses, glimpsing the vibrant tapestry that intertwined generations. The choice lay before him, to embrace the legacy of love and connection, or to remain shackled by grief. As the mist began to thin in the face of dawn, a gentle warmth spread across the river, enveloping Thomas and Alara in a serene embrace. He gazed into the shimmering water, now reflecting the first light of day, realizing that the river was more than a mere source of sustenance. It was a living tapestry woven from countless lives. Each ripple and wave held stories that spanned generations, intertwining joy, sorrow, and unrelenting hope. Alara's voice, laced with encouragement, resonated in his heart. "Your past is not a weight to bear, but a foundation upon which to build your future," she urged. Thomas understood now that he was a custodian of these tales, tasked with sharing the eternal connection that linked him to the river and all who had come before him. With renewed purpose, he envisioned a life where each catch became a story, a bridge connecting his heart to the souls of those who had walked the banks of the Thames before him. As the first light of dawn begins to shimmer across the Thames, a soft golden hue envelops the waters beneath Tower Bridge. Alara's silvery form glows, ethereal against the waking world. She gazes at Thomas, her expression imbued with warmth and wisdom. "Remember," she whispers, "the stories you carry are not yours alone. They belong to all who've come before you." The thrill of their connection fills the air, a bond forged in shared understanding. With the rising sun casting long shadows, Alara prepares to return to her watery realm. "Every whisper of the river is a thread in the tapestry of life," she continues. "You must weave your tale into it, joining the chorus of history." Thomas feels a swell of purpose within him, an awakening that transcends grief. He looks deeply into her eyes, knowing that this moment is pivotal. As she begins to fade beneath the surface, he clutches the locket tightly, promising to honor her words and share the legacy flowing through him.